Warning: the Grand Theft Auto series contains strong language, strong violence, strong sexual content, and drug use. Viewer discretion is strongly advised and cautioned that this episode is not for children. Hello Grand Theft Auto fans and gamers, it's John, host of Video Games and the World, and welcome to a new Video Games and the World Season 1 Reboot episode. Today, we will talk about a loved yet controversial game, Grand Theft Auto. This year marks the 20th anniversary of one of the series' beloved titles, Grand Theft Auto 3, and for this special occasion, I decided to speak about the controversies of the series. Many people love the Grand Theft Auto series of games since it was first released, and especially after going into 3D, which made the game series even more popular. Others were not so kind about this game. How so? Because certain themes would cause outrage among parents, the media, politicians, activists, and so on. This is what we shall explore and give certain opinions about these issues that made the game series so controversial. With all that said and done, this is the Controversies of Grand Theft Auto. The Grand Theft Auto series of video games first debuted in 1997. At that time, video games had evolved from sprites and into 3D consoles and PC, thus making 16-bit graphics look outdated. The title Grand Theft Auto is named after the felony that involves the theft of motor vehicles. The Grand Theft Auto series of games was created by David Jones and Mike Daly. Later games in the series will be developed under the oversight of brothers Dan and Sam Houser, Leslie Benzies, and Aaron Garbett. It is primarily developed by British development house Rockstar North and published by its parent company, Rockstar Games. The game was first known as Race and Chase, as a cops and robbers style of game which involved players portraying a police officer pursuing criminals. But then, developers decided that the game was dull due to abiding by the rules of the road. So, the developers decided to adopt the concept of being a criminal rather than a cop, thus giving players a sense of freedom that included not following the rules of the road, such as running over pedestrians, driving at high speed, performing stunt drives, and being chased by aggressive police cars depending on how high their wanted levels were. What was a game of cops and robbers became robbers and cops, and so that is how Grand Theft Auto was born. Despite the first game being met with mixed reviews, players and critics praised the freedom of gameplay and the graphics. GTA 2 will also meet with success, and so would GTA London 1961 and its expansion London 1969. But the series will be massively successful once it evolved into 3D in 2001 with its greatest hit, Grand Theft Auto 3. Originally scheduled for a September release that year, it had to be delayed due to October due to the September 11 attacks. This caused developers to tone down some of the violence and remove any buildings that resembled the World Trade Center. The gameplay takes players on different missions as part of the story. Players can also take part on other side missions and mini-games such as Rampage, racing for checkpoints, and even perform stunt driving for extra cash. In later games, players would try to seek hidden packages, so they can have free weapons and armor at their hideouts. Most of the gameplay involves driving and shooting with certain role-playing and stealth elements of gameplay. Other elements are similar to early beat-em-up games of the 16-bit era. The games are set in fictional locales modeled after real-life American cities, such as Liberty City, a stand-in for New York, Vice City, a stand-in for Miami, and San Andreas, a stand-in for San Francisco. The city of GTA 2 was called Anywhere. In GTA London 1961 and its expansion 1969, the game would take place in London, UK. But later, the game, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, would expand with not one, but 3 different cities, Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas. These cities were stand-ins for Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas, respectively. The series is also known to have radio stations with humorous dialogue from their DJs, humorous dialogues from pedestrians, and commercials that satirize American society. In Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, there were television shows that mocked conservatives and liberals, such as Republican Space Rangers, Moorhead Rides Again, Kung Fu Rainbow Laser Force, Impotent Rage, and various commercials on television as well. Making fun of otakus was Princess Robot Bubblegum in Grand Theft Auto 5. Weasel News in Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 is a parody of the conservative Fox News network. The CNT network satirizes channels such as CNN, TNT, and mostly the CW. The main characters from the first game until GTA 3 were usually silent protagonists, but then, from Vice City and onward, protagonists will be given a voice and a personality as well.
Shut up, Ken.
The voice acting in the games is well known to use Hollywood movie stars from various movies and shows like Goodfellas, Scarface, Miami Vice, Menace to Society, The Sopranos, and so on. Names like Robert Loggia, Frank Vincent, Ray Liotta, James Woods, Kyle MacLachlan, Joe Pantoliano, Samuel L. Jackson, Dennis Hopper, William Fichtner, Fairuza Balk, Debbie Harry, Peter Fonda, Debbie Mazar, and so on. As of 2020, the series consists of 7 standalone titles and 4 expansion packs. The third main title, Grand Theft Auto 3, released in 2001, is considered a landmark game as it brought the series to a 3-dimensional setting and more immersive experience. Subsequent titles have followed and built upon the concept establishing GTA 3 and received significant acclaim. They have influenced other open-world action games and led to the label Grand Theft Auto clone on similar titles like Saints Row. The GTA series received critical acclaim, especially after evolving into 3D with Grand Theft Auto 3. It's one of the best-selling games of all time and winner of multiple awards including Game of the Year. Despite the commercial and critical success, not every person will be happy with a game due to the amount of violence, immorality, racial profiling, stereotyping, and several other reasons. The GTA series has been controversial due to its adult themes and violent nature, which appalled many parents, politicians, activists, and even the mainstream media itself. Throughout video gaming history, most violent games were often accused of corrupting America's youth, being connected with the occult, and linked to mass shootings like Columbine, Virginia Tech, Aurora, Sandy Hook, Umpqua, Pulse, Parkland, Jacksonville, and so on. Many games accused were Duke Nukem 3D, Doom, Quake, and so on. It has always been like this since the days of Mortal Kombat, when it first came out. And Grand Theft Auto was no stranger to controversy and accusations of corrupting America's youth. One of the most well-known accusers of the GTA series is this barred Florida attorney and conservative activist, Jack Thompson. Thompson often accused the series of promoting sex and violence. During his time as an attorney, Thompson would accuse rap music of promoting violence and sex. To debunk and correct that statement that rap encourages violence, rap music with the explicit lyrics reflects the reality of the bad things that happen in the hood, police brutality, racism, and so on. The game was blasted for its realistic depiction of carjacking, murder, and prostitution. One of these examples is killing the sex worker after engaging in sexual activity to steal all her money that popped out. While the player has the option to do this, it is not mandatory. Other controversial violence in the game included dismemberment and decapitation, which was not present in GTA 3 unless activated with a cheat code. It was later present in Vice City, San Andreas, and so on. However, Thompson would use certain incidents of youth violence who claimed to be inspired by the games to justify his claims that Grand Theft Auto causes violence. The incidents linked to the game were those of William and Josh Buckner, Devin Moore, Cody Posey, Ryan Chinnery, Paul Wacchino, and 4 New York youths with a history of drug use and drunkenness. Another example is a mass shooting of the Navy Yard where Aaron Alexis shot many people in a Navy yard with a shotgun, many people claim that he was inspired by Grand Theft Auto 5. Thompson filed a document with a federal court in Florida on September 18, 2007 that claims that the assassination target of a mission in GTA 4 is a lawyer character based upon himself. When the main protagonist enters his office and pulls a gun on him, the lawyer says, "Guns don't kill people, video games do." Thompson has threatened that unless the similarities to himself are removed from the game, he will take necessary and proper means to stop the release of the game. Despite both the mission and the character still remain in the game. After his disbarment, Thompson would no longer be able to file a lawsuit against the Grand Theft Auto series of games. Thompson was not the only one to accuse the GTA series of promoting violence and sex. Conservative talk show host Glenn Beck would accuse the series of corrupting children. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg said, "The mayor does not support any video game where you earn points for injuring or killing police officers," although no points are awarded for killing or injuring police officers in the game. As a response, Jason De La Rocca, executive director of the International Game Developers Association, accused New York City officials of double standards for criticizing video games but not other forms of entertainment such as books, films, television shows, which used New York City as a setting. Others who would accuse Grand Theft Auto of promoting sex and violence were Ralph Nader, Dianne Feinstein, and former Senator and then presidential hopeful Hillary Clinton. Clinton expressed her concerns about the game due to the sex minigame in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas known as a hot coffee mod. The sex minigame feature was disabled from the game before release but not actually removed. The files containing the minigame content were soon discovered and Patrick Wildenborg released a hot coffee mod to enable it. The PC mod itself is only an edited copy of the main game script file with a single bit changed. The mod was also made possible on the console versions by changing the bit inside a user's save game file or by using a third-party modding device. The mod was first released for download on PC on June 9, 2005 through GrandTheftAutoGarage.com and was released for the PS2 and Xbox soon after. The organizations Mothers Against Drunk Driving would accuse the game series of promoting drunk driving and called for a stricter rating on a game that would effectively ban its sale in the United States. "Drunk driving is not a game, and it is not a joke," Matt said. "Drunk driving is a choice, a violent crime, and it is also 100% preventable." Matt asked Rockstar to label GTA 4 with an AO rating, to which Rockstar responded, "We have a great deal of respect for Matt's mission, but we believe the mature audience for GTA 4 is more than sophisticated enough to understand the game's content." GTA constantly being accused of promoting violence and sex is nothing new, and surely GTA 6 will be accused of such things as well. But the children are not the ones buying these games, the parents are, and parents need to be more aware of the ratings of the video games they buy for their children. It has been always said that violence is a part of human nature, and saying that video games cause violence is like saying that Cain bludgeoned Abel with a PS4, David throwing an Xbox at Goliath, and Genghis Khan being inspired by Assassin's Creed to go to war. When it comes to accusing video games for mass shootings in schools, universities, or any other public area, they never try to seek the reason why the shooter did it. They find it easier to find a scapegoat, to divert public attention towards and avoid talking about the root problem because it's inconvenient for their influences or their businesses. When it comes to school shootings like Columbine, Virginia Tech, Umpqua, and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, it's because shooters suffered from bullying, isolation, untreated mental disorders, and general neglect for their many cries for help, marched to their school, gunning down people they felt had it coming. In terms of other shootings like Oak Creek, Charlottesville, San Bernardino, and Pulse, the shooters were a part of a certain movement following an ideology of hatred and bigotry. Racism has many definitions, such as hatred and prejudice based on skin color, the belief that one race is superior towards another, and according to other anti-racist groups and activists, prejudice and power combined. Racism is a very much talked about subject nowadays, especially with various incidents like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and anti-Asian discrimination due to the COVID-19 outbreak in 2020. And we as a society, regardless of skin color, gender, creed, and sexual orientation, must work together and call it out in every group of people. Call it out in families, circle of friends, and learn to see each other as human beings, not as a color. Otherwise, this will be a continuous, toxic cycle. The Grand Theft Auto series was accused of racism starting with the 2002 title Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Vice City is a very much loved title considered superior due to driving not only cars but also motorcycles and helicopters, and also due to its 80s vibes as it took place in such a decade. Much like its predecessor, it was accused of promoting explicit sex and violence, but one of its most well-known accusations was racism. In November of 2003, the game was accused by Cuban and Haitian groups in Florida and accused the game of inviting people to harm immigrants from the two nations. Rockstar Games responded by removing several lines of dialogue from the game. This seemed to have largely satisfied the groups who raised complaints, although the case was then referred to at state court, downgraded from the initial decision to refer the case to a federal court. In 2004, a new version of the game was released, removing and changing those lines of dialogue. These are the following examples of the changing of dialogues.
Papi, un gran problema.
Alberto, my son, what happened?
Un gran problema.
Papi, hay problema, Tom.
Papi, un gran problema.
Alberto, my son, what
The
happened?
Haitians. I hate these Haitians. They messed with me for the last time. These Haitians. We'll take them out.
Now, racism is horrific, disgusting, and deplorable, no doubt about that. But when it comes to gang violence and racism in real life, it always existed. Various gangs, even before and after the 1992 riots of LA, would fight each other over territory, over race, pride, and respect. Many people ending up in the wrong neighborhood ran by gangs of certain ethnicities were often jumped, and that is sad. It's just as bad when African Americans enter a certain neighborhood to meet with some friends and the police start harassing them and
file a complaint.
Racism is anti-human, abuse of power, deplorable, and should be considered as such. Grand Theft Auto may be accused of such things, but a racist game, it is not. Sexism is judging people by their sex when sex doesn't matter. It is also defined as an ideology based on the belief that one sex is superior to another. It is discrimination, prejudice, or stereotyping based on gender, and it is most often expressed toward women and girls. But men can also be victims, despite many claims that they cannot. Despite many claims of who can and cannot be sexist, at any point, anyone can be as such. For the record, sexism is a very ugly, disgusting, and deplorable thing. And much like racism, it needs to be called out in public places, families, jobs, schools, and universities. Both misogyny and misandry should be treated equally as social ills, and any person who claims to be for gender equality while hating people for being men or women damages the purpose of pushing for a more fair and equal society. Now, aside from being accused of promoting violence, sex, and being accused of racism, the GTA series also faced accusations of sexism. One of the accusations of sexism was killing prostitutes and taking their money, as stated earlier. But that is up to the player, and it's not a mandatory thing. Another thing that could accuse Grand Theft Auto of sexism is the hot coffee mod as well. GameSpot reviewer Carolyn Patton noted that women in the game were mostly treated and or played as strippers, prostitutes, long-suffering wives, humorless girlfriends, and goofy new age feminists, and felt that the satirical representation of misogyny legitimizes it.
Look at the arse on that.
We are women, we are free. We are
Shut the fuck up! Thank you.
Dave Cook of VG247 reinforced the sentiment that female characters were constructed on stereotypes in an editorial. They're either there to be rescued, shouted at, fucked, to be seen fucking, put up with, killed, hurt prattling away like dullards on their mobile phones or shopping. Many leapt in to defend the satirical take from Carolyn Pettit and Dave Cook, and went on various rants on social media to fight off against the social justice warriors, or SJWs. Even BuzzFeed accused it of sexism as well, saying that it perpetuates the male fantasy. Sam Hauser felt that the development team sometimes overlooked their portrayal of women in Grand Theft Auto games, but that the weight towards male characters fit with the story we wanted to tell. As stated before, sexism is ugly and disgusting, but when it comes to satire and insulting stereotypes, it's to reflect truth and make some humor out of it. If you lie about it by sugarcoating it to avoid offense, then there is no comedy and humor. As for the statement of perpetuating the male gaze and the male fantasy, strippers and sex workers are coded in the game because they existed, do exist, and shall exist for the foreseeable future. Besides, in real life, men are often shirtless and almost completely naked in covers of romance novels, Playgirl magazine covers, romantic comedies, etc. Yet those who talk about the male gaze are not complaining about such things, about men being fully naked in such forms of entertainment. In December 2014, the game was banned from the shelves of Target in Australia due to a petition accusing the game of glamorizing violence against women, and when that happened, people just felt the need to beat the crap out of SJWs. Luckily, they did not. Now, does Grand Theft Auto promote such things? Short answer, no. Because in the series, everybody is a target regardless of gender and skin color. And also, sugarcoating something and censorship doesn't make certain issues go away. It'll just make it grow and grow until it explodes out of proportion and make it a lot worse. Sure, Maria had to be rescued in Liberty City Stories and at the conclusion of GTA 3. But players worked for female characters like Asuka, Catalina, and so on. It should also be noted that the GTA 4 never forces a player to kidnap any civilian women, then intentionally ram unattended vehicles, nor does it provide players with any incentive to do so. Now, according to them, it's wrong when women are targeted in the game, but if men are targeted, then they have no objections about it. That is a double standard right there, because as said, men and women are both equal targets in the game. Lindsay Lohan is well known for starting out as a child star on various Disney-themed movies like The Parent Trap. As she matured, she became famous for movies like Mean Girls, I Know Who Killed Me, Machete, and so on. Not to forget, she was one of the most well-known celebrity party girls alongside Kimberly Stewart, the Hilton sisters, the Kardashians, and so on. In December 2013, the actress Lindsay Lohan claimed that Rockstar had used her likeness to create the girl in the artwork, Beach Weather. In July 2014, she finally sued Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive, claiming that the character Lacey Jonas was an unequivocal reference to Lohan.
Get up, Karen.
Another known figure that followed a lawsuit against Grand Theft Auto V was Karen Gravano of Mob Wives fame. She is not just known for the VH1 reality show, but also known of being the daughter of a mobster turned informant, Salvatore Gravano, aka Sammy the Bull. Karen also wrote her autobiography called Mob Daughter, in which she spoke about writing in the first season of Mob Wives upon her return to New York. In February 2014, former Mob Wives star Karen Gravano sued Rockstar Games for $40 million, claiming that her image and life story was added to the game without permission. The character set to portray Gravano is Antonia Bottino. Antonia Bottino does not appear as a main character and only appears in a single random event. Rockstar filed to dismiss Gravano's lawsuit in April and stated that the allegations are foreclosed by the First Amendment. Rockstar responded in court papers that sought a dismissal of the case, saying that the case was frivolous and filed for publicity purposes. In 2016, both lawsuits were dismissed. Torture is the act of deliberately inflicting severe physical, or psychological suffering on someone by another as a punishment, or in order to fulfill some desire of the torturer or for some action from the victim. In the Grand Theft Auto 5 mission by the book, Trevor Phillips is seen torturing a target in order to extract information about an Azerbaijani individual linked with terrorists and poses a threat to the FIB, the game's version of the FBI. Trevor uses torture methods such as electrocution, removing teeth using pliers, hitting Mr. K with a monkey wrench, and waterboarding on a restrained man. Once Mr. K provides the FIB with the information, Trevor is asked to kill him, but instead drives into the airport, providing him an opportunity to escape. While driving Mr. K, Trevor monologues about the ineffectiveness of torture, pointing out Mr. K's readiness to supply the FIB with the information without being tortured, and expressing that torture is used as a power play to assert ourselves. Many felt that Rockstar North crossed the line by depicting torture in the game and forcing players to be torturers. Independent journalist Tom Chick defended the torture sequence and wrote that, unlike the No Russian mission from Modern Warfare 2 or the 2012 film Zero Dark 30, the underlying political commentary on torture in by the book necessitated the violent content. Asked about performing the torture sequence, Trevor's actor Stephen Ogg said that he treated it like just another day at the office and was focused more on not making mistakes during filming than the scene's ethics. In the Japanese version of the game, the scene was censored. The torture scene in the game is a reflection on how they treat people linked with terrorism. There must be humane methods to extract information rather than extreme pain indeed. What's funny is that people were outraged on how GTA included torture and said nothing about Theon Greyjoy's brutal torture at the hands of Ramsay Snow in Game of Thrones Season 3. Not to forget how silent they were on Abby torturing Joel in The Last of Us Part 2, which is pretty much a double standard right there. Now, the difference in this mission between Steve Haynes and Trevor Phillips is to show how Steve lacks humanity and is a complete sadist, while Trevor, despite being a psychopathic killer, at least shows some humanity by letting Mr. K go rather than having orders to kill him. Because torturing is a power play to assert ourselves, as Trevor stated while taking Mr. K to the airport, sending him back to his homeland rather than leaving him alive in Los Santos. Because if he left him in the city, the FIB would have killed him. And finally, to wrap this up, Grand Theft Auto continues to be a loved game series and still put in a controversial spotlight by parents, journalists, activists, and politicians. Parents shouldn't buy their kids Grand Theft Auto, and if they do so, they must instruct their kids to not imitate what they see. They must also teach them the major difference between fact and fiction. As much as art imitates life, people must not imitate what certain things are depicted. And children must be oriented into what must not be imitated regarding art. Censorship doesn't mean that certain issues will go away. It will just make it worse. As for satire, it's about making fun of society and certain issues that are very serious. Because comedy is a reflection of truth. Until next time, gamers, this is John of Video Games in the World. Have a good one. Peace.